Indigenous lands and reserves are often rich in lush, green forests, which sustain them in terms of food, execution of cultural practices, and protection from illness. Deforestation, the act of cutting down trees to harvest materials for expanding agriculture, poses a major threat to Indigenous livelihood by removing one of their most important resources for survival. Commonly used methods of deforestation are mining, logging, and farming, which lead to severe land loss. The impacts of deforestation are detrimental and include damage to cultural identity, a loss of substantial resources, and endangerment to health. In terms of cultural identity, forests are a significant tool in all aspects of Indigenous life, and many of their spiritual traditions are centered around their land. Deforestation destroys sacred Indigenous sites and the rituals that take place within them, which creates a disconnect between Indigenous people and their culture. Additionally, deforestation is the culprit of the loss of substantial resources for Indigenous people. Since forests are home to biodiversity and their most crucial sources of food and income, Indigenous people heavily depend on forests to provide them with resources such as fruits, nuts, and medicinal plants. Deforestation forces them to look beyond their own communities and depend on other sources to sustain them, which is opposite to their independent lifestyle. Returning to the topic of medicinal plants, Indigenous people use these plants to keep them healthy and prevent illness. Medicinal plants are a product of Indigenous forestry and have served as a traditional practice in their culture for thousands of years. Deforestation disrupts this practice, as it removes the only resource that keeps them from catching and spreading diseases. Some examples of diseases that Indigenous people commonly suffer from are malaria, Lyme disease, and sleeping sickness, which can be contracted in different parts of the world from either humans or animals. The impacts of deforestation can be seen in Indigenous communities located in Peru and the Congo. The Ashaninka, Yanomami, and Kaipo peoples are native to the Amazon rainforest and have suffered from violent displacement as a result of deforestation. These groups have made tremendous efforts to preserve the land, but it has been gradually decreasing in size over time. Cattle ranching, soy production, mining, and cocaine production are the major contributors to deforestation in the Amazon, and this has severely damaged its Indigenous people. It has become increasingly common for issues such as water pollution and illegal activities to arise as a result of gold mining, which requires immense deforestation in order to be carried out. The Indigenous peoples of the Amazon are supposed to have land rights that protect them from issues like deforestation, but the legislation is often not feasible and does more harm than good.
Em todos os locais por onde a gente passou aqui na Europa, seja com os parlamentares, com a sociedade civil, mas com a classe empresarial, a gente ainda sentiu uma resistência, né? Como se eles estivessem sempre certos, corretos, que eles estão levando em consideração os direitos humanos, a Declaração da ONU para os povos indígenas, certificação de selo verde, né? Respeitando o equilíbrio climático e a biodiversidade. E a gente dá essa contranarrativa também de dizer como que as empresas que têm sede aqui na Europa e muitos investimentos no Brasil podem estar tão seguros da sua responsabilidade social corporativa se aumentou absurdamente nesses últimos 11 anos o número de desmatamento nos nossos territórios, o número de assassinato de defensores de terras, de direitos no Brasil. Então, isso não bate. Eles estão com um discurso pronto, mas que na situação real isso não acontece.
Furthermore, the Baka people, native to the Congo Basin rainforest, are known for their extremely close-knit relationship with their land. They are intellectual hunter-gatherers that rely heavily on the forest to survive and protect it in return for its resources. Unfortunately, the Baka people have suffered from severe land loss as a result of big conservation organizations such as the World Wildlife Fund. These organizations commit mass deforestation to build national parks, and the Baka people are no longer allowed to enter their land that these parks are being built on. Simply stepping foot onto their own land puts them at risk of being arrested, harassed, tortured, or even killed by park rangers patrolling the area. To conclude, deforestation threatens Indigenous people and their communities, stripping them of the most culturally significant aspect of their identities, their land. They will continue to be displaced from their traditional lands if they continue to lack support from us as a society and efforts toward reconciliation are not made.